Yo, what's up guys? So in this video I'm going to give you 3 tips on creating your own magic. Now this isn't some formula out of a book, this isn't some direct way to do it, how you should do it. This is just how I approach it, and this is just my creative process. So if you're a creator or you're just interested in trying to create your own tricks, maybe this video and my creative process can help you along that journey. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, I just want to say before we get started that some people in the magic community say that everything that can be created already has been created, and I think that's just bullshit, honestly. I mean, maybe for them it's impossible because they're not very creative on their own, so they're just projecting, right? But the truth is, there are so many things that you can create in magic. And I truly feel like that we're just getting started on creating awesome tricks. I mean, especially today with all the tools and technology we have. I mean, it's crazy the things that we can come up with, you know. It's just sit there and say that you can't create anything new is ridiculous. I mean, think of it this way. Somebody created the wheel, and somebody created the wagon. Somebody created the wagon, somebody created a Ferrari. Just because somebody created a brick doesn't mean you can't build things with those bricks, like a magic shop or a school or a library or a house. So tip number 1, and probably the most important tip on this video, is read everything, because the more tools that you know, the more things you can create, obviously. Now, you don't have to own every single book on magic. That would be ridiculous and impossible. But what's important is reading what you have and reading everything you can get your hands on. And that means reading the whole book. I mean, oftentimes, myself included, we'll just skip over the stuff that we know or the easy stuff, and we'll a lot of times skip and miss on accident the really good stuff like the gems in there. So case in point, one of my recent videos, that self-working 3-packet trick, Thought Echo, it was brought to my attention that it was also taught on Scam School recently. So I was like, oh man, that sucks, you know, because I didn't know anything about this. So I went over and watched that video, and Joe Diamond, the guy who taught it, said, Brian, you're going to really hate yourself because it's from a book that's in the studio right now. And I thought he was going to get out Card College, the book I learned it from, and but he didn't. He brought out Paul Barrow's review, a really old book that hardly nobody has, and I was like, what? That's from Card College. So it just goes to show that a lot of people skip over the easy stuff, right? And so it's apparent to me that nobody actually reads Card College. I mean, we all have Card College. We've all, you know, skimmed through Card College to find some stuff that we wanted to find, right? But when was the last time you actually sat down and read Card College front to back? Maybe never, but it's something that you should just get used to doing. I mean, there are so many things you can learn, you know, old is new again. You find hidden gems that you can really just have fun with, and a lot of times fool even a magician, you know. So here are some books that I recommend if you want to create some magic. You can get some good ideas from. Remember, read them front to back. Pick a book, any book. So these are the self-working books by Carl Fulvis. Now there's a lot of books, a lot of self-working books in this series, but these are just the card ones. There's like self-working table magic, self-working coin magic, self-working handkerchief magic, self-working mental magic. The list goes on, there's a lot of them, but there's 5 in the card series. There is the first one, there's self-working card tricks, there's self-working close-up card magic, there's more self-working card tricks, there's my best self-working card tricks, and new self-working card tricks. And they're all just fabulous. There's a lot of real gems in here, a lot of golden nuggets, and if you just want to get some ideas, read any one of these. Now obviously you can't go wrong with the classic, the staple, the standard, the must-read Royal Road card magic. I mean, everyone has this, everyone says they've read it, everyone thinks they've read it, but did you though? Now, it might seem and it might feel like a waste of time, like you're just reading this book for no reason, because we all know the overhand shuffle, we all know the key card, right? And so, like, why would you have to read this again? Maybe it's been a while since you read it, so maybe go back and read this book front to back with a fresh outlook and a new perspective, and you might be surprised at the new things you'll learn from this book. So, expert card technique, look at that. It's the Bible, right? Everything is in here. Every single sleight of hand technique is in here. You got the bottom deal, got palming, everything you need to know. Every brick, this it is a brick, right? Every single tool and foundation that you need to know for creating any kind of trick with cards is in this book. So a couple of other just off-the-cuff books that I recommend for getting your creative juices flowing and getting some good ideas is Anima's Card Magic by Theodore Animan. Now this book is just filled with just awesome, insane ideas that the things that are you just think to yourself, man, how have I not thought of that? And everything is simple, I mean almost self-working, so if you take things from expert card technique and apply them to the self-working tricks, you can create some really amazing stuff just from this book. So definitely pick it up. It's just a Dover, you can find it anywhere. It's probably $3 or $4, so really good read. The same thing can be said about Charles Jordan's Best Card Tricks. Now what this is a collection of all Charles Jordan's little pamphlets and books combined in one volume. So everything Charles Jordan has created in the past, it's all collected here in this book. And you can find this anywhere. If you've ever read Roy Walton's books, Charles Jordan and Roy Walton are like peanut butter and jelly, right? They just go hand in hand. A lot of ideas that Jordan came up with were directly inspired from Roy Walton and vice versa. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in here, and I've created some tricks from this book by taking his ideas and really working on them and using the tips that I'll be sharing with you now. Alright, so everything I've said about all those other books applies especially to this book, Encyclopedia of Card Tricks. It just has it all. If you're a creator, you definitely need to read this book. I mean, all of it. There's so many good things in here. You got impromptu tricks, you got spelling tricks, math tricks, you got tricks with stripper decks, some golly decks, tournament restore tricks. I mean, everything you need to know about card magic is probably in this book. So if you're a serious student of card magic, and if you really want to take your magic to the next level and really push the envelope, you gotta go to college. And I don't mean your local community college, I don't mean Harvard, I don't mean an actual school that you go to. What I mean is a series of books that's probably the most important series of books written in our lifetime. What I'm talking about is Card College 1 through 5. Man, these are heavy. Alright, so tip number 2. So creating magic in its most basic form is just problem solving. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to do the trick where you wrap the deck with a rubber band and then the card shoots out of the deck, through the rubber band. That's cool, but the only problem is maybe you don't have a rubber band, but you do have, say, a ribbon. So the more you just sit there and play with the idea using a ribbon, your brain is forced to create something new that you couldn't even do with the rubber band in the first place. Same goes for just sleights and generals. So for example, if a trick requires a bottom deal and you can't do a bottom deal, you're forced to sort of try to create something the same trick, just using a different sleight, right? Your brain just automatically goes to problem solving mode or creative mode, and it'll sort of backtrack and remember all the things you've read from these books. And before you know it, you're not doing a bottom deal, and you're not even doing the same trick anymore. What you've done is created a whole entire new trick. And this happens probably, it happens all the time. It happens most of the time I sit down and try to learn a new trick. I mean, I can't even learn a new trick without my brain saying, okay, creative mode, it's time to solve these problems. Because most of the times I don't even have problems, it's just me just trying to create something new just because I love it so much. On the other hand, let's say that you can do a bottom deal and you do have a rubber band, but you feel like maybe something else would make the trick stronger, or it might fit your style a little bit better. These are all things that you want to constantly think about as you're trying to create tricks and reading things from those old books. So tip number 3, always question everything. For instance, sometimes a book will tell you to do a certain action without telling you why. You always want to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I saying this? Why am I putting this in my pocket? Or why am I putting that there, right? There always has to be a reason behind everything. Maybe a book will tell you to have the participant shuffle the cards and ask them to deal 7 cards down. for no reason, right? You always have to have a reason why you're doing something, and always be asking yourself this why, right? Maybe your lucky number is 7, maybe your school jersey was number 7 and you always won the game when you wore that jersey or something like that, right? Or maybe the number 7 has a particular effect on the deck of cards itself. Maybe when you were 7 years old, your grandfather showed you this amazing card trick or something like that, right? There's always has to be some presentational reason why you're doing something, at least in my opinion. When you start questioning things and you start thinking about the effect as a whole, and you just trim the fat and you take out the stuff that doesn't even matter, you really start to create amazing things. And the more you do this, the more you just work on it, the easier it gets. And it's actually a lot of fun to do, and it's something I do every day, actually. So I'll end with this. I think that those Dover books, like the Self-Working Tricks and the Animan and the Charles Jordan and even Encyclopedia, I think those books, the people who were inventing tricks in that time were just squeezing out everything that could be done, every possible method that could be done with a deck of cards. And all of their focus, all of their energy was just on the method itself. And sadly, effect came second. I mean, that's a great thing for creators because we can just go back and read these old books and that's how we create tricks, right? Just by reading those old books, because there's no effects in there really. It's just the methods that we need. So always remember, the effect is what matters. I mean, Di Vernon, we all know this quote, right? Effect is everything. Method is purely secondary, right? Which is true. It's so true even today. So always be thinking about how you can make these methods, how you can put an entertaining hook to it, or just a memorable thing for your audience to. You want to show them magic, not methods. If you take everything I've told you in this video and you really apply them to your creative process, I think that you can create anything pretty much, at least with cards. So now I want to teach you a trick that I created that really sort of exemplifies everything I've just told you, and I call it Buzzwords. It came out of originally My Best Self-Working Card Tricks by Carl Fulvis. Now, it's based on a trick called Voodoo Clue, originally created by Stuart James. So as I was saying, always question everything, right? So the very first thing that's taught in this trick is take out any 8 or 9 spot card. And I thought to myself, why? Why do you have to use an 8 or 9 spot? Then it tells you to take out 17 cards and put them down. Again, I was like, why do you have to use 17 cards here? Then it goes on to tell you that the spectator has to deal 2 piles of cards from the 17 cards, and any number he wants, let's say it's 5. And it's like, I was thinking to myself, how can I get the same effect without doing all this nonsense? Anyway, the effect is that the spectator deals any number of cards that they want to and picks either the 8 or 9 spot and deals that many cards, and eventually they land on a card that you've predicted. A pretty cool trick, a pretty cool method, but that's the only cool thing about it is the method. I mean, there's no reason why you're taking an 8 and a 9 and taking 17 cards and having them put cards in their pocket. You don't need all that. Like I said, trim the fat. Try to find ways to do the same effect just by doing the least amount of things that you know what, I'll just get right into it. Alright, so here's the effect. A participant is invited to shuffle and cut the deck as much as they want to, and our goal is to find some good cards out of the deck. And we do this by using some magic words, alright? And thankfully, to make it easier, I've written down some of my favorites. We have Bazinga and Kapow. These are just a couple of my favorites to use, and we use these to find some good cards, alright? So maybe you've just cut to some by accident, alright? So we can use these, and maybe there's some good cards in here. So what we'll do is we'll use these words. Which one would you like to use? Maybe Kapow. That's a good one, but here's what we'll do. We'll spell the word Kapow like this. I'll use Bazinga as an example, all right? So you just do B-A-Z-A-N-G-A, but you do that with Kapow, and then when you're done, put the other cards on top of the deck, all right? So do that now, so they pick it up, right? And they spell Kapow, that's K-A-P-O-W, and they put the other cards on top of the deck. So maybe, I mean, you could have shuffled and cut anywhere, and you could have chosen any word, right? So maybe with all that, your magic word, maybe we found a good card, so let's see what it is. The 5 of spades. That's an okay card, I don't know, but the truth is, what I didn't tell you, that magic words are meant to distract you or misdirect you, because what we really did is found the right card. What I mean by that is the 5 of spades, a direct match. and also, I did say that magic words are meant to distract you, and I think that we actually did find some good cards with those words. Alright, so that's buzzwords, directly inspired by that Voodoo Clue trick. Now, this method works exactly the same with the 17 cards and the dealing back and forth and using the 8 and the 7. But instead of doing all that, what I've just done here is use magic words instead of an 8 and a 7, because it makes sense. I mean, it's justifiable. I mean, why would you just take out an 8 and a 7 for no reason, right? So that was the first thing. The other thing was, doing it this way, I found that there was 4 cards left over, so if we're going to pretend to find good cards with magic words, why not just have the card be just an okay card, and at the end, the 4 cards are the aces, right? The best cards in the deck. So I was just playing around with that method, the 17 cards and the whole putting cards in your pocket and dealing back and forth to find a prediction. It's the same trick, just dressed up a little bit differently. So this is what you do. So you need a business card, and you just write Bazinga and Kapow on it. Then you take some double stick tape and just tape a mini card on the back of that. So then what you do is you put the aces on top of the deck, and then you put the 4th card on top, and then on top of everything you just put 2 random cards, and you're good to go. So this just goes in your pocket, and then again the setup is 2 random cards, the 4th card, and then the 4 aces, just like that. So what you do is, I'll just put this over here, what you do is you start talking about trying to find good cards, and it's important that the deck is shuffled. And then what they do here is you just coach them through the shuffled OC cut. So you ask them to cut about a third of the deck down on the table, and you say, why don't you give those a shuffle, right? And they can shuffle the heck out of these, it doesn't matter. They shuffle these, put about half of these there. They shuffle these, they put about half of those there. And you can distract them here and say, look, you could have cut anywhere you shuffled, but maybe we'll use some magic words to help us find some good cards. And then you just assemble the deck, taking the top of the deck first, right, like this. Just standard OC shuffled cut, right? So now you pick up the deck and you casually take off 10 cards, right? It always has to be 10 cards, and just be casual with it. You don't have to justify it. Just say, look, we don't need the whole deck. That would take too long to try to find the good cards, all right? So as you're saying that, you just push off 10 cards. So that's 3, 2, 2, 3, and then put the rest of the deck down. Don't count out loud, of course. Just casually take them off as you're talking. It's always 3, 2, 2, 3 to get 10, right? So it's just casual 3, 2, 2, 3, and you have your 10 cards. Do keep in mind, though, that you can't just deal cards face down on the table, because the cards have to be in the same position as they were on top of the deck. What I mean by that is 2 random cards, and you have your aces and the 5 still where they were originally. Alright, so you have this packet and you say, look, maybe there's a good card in this packet we just happen to cut to, right? So you ask them, which word do you like better? Do you like Bazinga or Kapow? And the cool thing here is that it doesn't matter which one they pick, because just like in the other one, it doesn't matter which card they take, the 8 or the 9. So if they say Kapow, you use Bazinga as an example, right? So if they say, I want Kapow, you would do the spelling with the Bazinga word. But if they say Bazinga, say perfect, well, we'll just spell Bazinga, right? So any word works. So I'll go through both situations just so you can get a clear idea. So let's say they say Kapow. Perfect, we'll just spell Kapow like this. Well, as an example, we'll just say Bazinga. Do it just like that, and then the extra cards, just put them on top of the deck. So you did Bazinga as an example, and so now you ask them to pick up the cards and spell Kapow just like how you just did. So they do that, that's Kapow, and put the cards back on top of the deck. If they do say Bazinga, that's perfect. Look, we'll spell Bazinga, that's Bazinga. And then do the same thing, put the extra cards on the deck, and then you say, you know what? Just to really make sure we find a good card, let's just go and use it. We'll spell Kapow as well. So now you can ask them to pick it up and do the same thing you just did, right? So really you do the same thing either way. You're just say different things, you know? So they do that, they say K-A-P-O-W in your exact same position. So here's where you make a huge deal out of this top card here, because this is the card they think is going to be the good card, right? So you say, look, you could have shuffled anywhere, you could have cut the deck anywhere, this could have been any cards from anywhere in the deck, right? Do the whole spiel thing, right? So you slowly, triumphantly turn it over, like, and we have the card, the 5 of spades. And you want to make it seem like maybe there was a mistake, and maybe this was not what was supposed to happen. And they'll say the 5 of spades, that's not a very good card at all, right? And which is the point. And so you say, look, magic words, I didn't tell you this, but magic words are meant to distract you. They're meant for misdirection, right? Because what we actually did is we found the right card. And the right card, what does that mean, right? So you turn this over and you say, look, it's the right card. We found the right card, and it's the 5 of spades, a perfect match. And you really want to let this sink in and let them digest this before you move on to the next phase, right? So say, man, that could have been anywhere. That's crazy. These magic words, they really work, right? They find the right card every time. And then you say, you just wait a few minutes, right? Just sit back and relax. And then you direct attention back to these cards and you see, look, magic words, you know, I wish we could have found good card or something, whatever you want to say, right? It's all up to you, your pattern. And you say, maybe we did find some good cards and turn this over as an ace. Ooh, an ace, right? Another ace, another ace, another ace. And that is a man. This trick, one of my favorites. So look at how entertaining and awesome this trick is compared to, you know, deal 17 cards, right? Deal back and forth, put these in your pocket, pick the 8 or the 9. What a boring trick that is, right? I mean, Stuart James is a genius and he creates some amazing methods, and a lot of times he does create good, you know, presentations and effects, but in this case, it's just, you can do a lot with this method. And, you know, the sky is the limit in terms of how you present these tricks. And always keep that in mind. Always think to yourself, how can I make this more entertaining? How can I get the most effect in this method, you know? Okay, guys, so thanks for watching this video. And I really, really hope that you got something out of this. If you have any questions, or if you just want to jam and create stuff together and have a little jam session where we talk about card tricks, hit me up. My email is down below, and yeah. Until next time, happy practicing. I love you guys.